Welcome back, guys. Once again, we got a small little project that we ran into to finish the Trailblazer timing chain. So earlier I had to do some modifications to a slide hammer so that I could pull the shaft out from in the oil pan, the front axle shaft for the four-wheel drive unit, because it goes through the oil pan. So that came out pretty good. That was a simple task. So it came out really good. We put everything back together. Timing chain's in the vehicle. Everything's going back together. And we're down to the nitty-gritty. So what we need to do is put the harmonic balancer on. And anybody that's actually done any engine work knows that when you remove or install a harmonic balancer, it has to be done right. So they have special tools for doing this. And over here, I have a box which contains a lot of my pullers and installers for a harmonic balancer. So the harmonic balancer, and this is not the one for the Trailblazer. This actually comes off one of my 440s. The harmonic balancer or damper dampens crankshaft rotational forces as the engine's going around in a circle. There's a rubber sleeve inside here that helps absorb those vibrations so the crankshaft does not break. Well, you need to pull it off properly so you don't pull the outside rubber O-ring off, or ring, and we have special pullers to do that. When we install it, we can't just hammer this on or put the bolt in there and just pull it on, because we could strip the thread out in the crankshaft. It could go on crooked. We need to make sure it goes on perfectly straight. So they actually have an installer that you can buy, and basically it comes with a whole bunch of little adapters. What these adapters do is one side screws into the installer. There is a bearing assembly that fits over here. And what you would do is you would place your harmonic balancer on the front of the engine, and you would thread this portion right here into the crankshaft. And once it aligns nice and square, we would use the nut here on the bearing to draw this in so it goes in nice and straight. Okay? Well, for years and years and years, these adapters have always worked fine. Most of the time your crankshafts are threaded pretty close out to the end of the crankshaft. Well, a lot of the newer vehicles we're finding that they're drilling and tapping the front of the crankshaft way down inside, so it's a lot deeper. So on this particular application, the bolt is 5 1/4 inches long. So when you put, and I have an adapter that would work, it's got the right thread. With this side right here that goes into the installer is 5/8 18. The side that goes into this particular application is 16 millimeter by 2 millimeter pitch. So this would physically work if it was tapped out to the end of the crankshaft, but it is not. So the first inch or so going into the crankshaft doesn't have any threads at all, and the threads are real deep. So we're going to make a simple little adapter which is 5 1/4 inches long, which is going to be 5/8 18 on one side, so we can thread in here 1 inch of threads, and on the other end 1 inch long of threads, which is 16 by 2.0. The funny thing about it is both the 16 millimeter and the 5/8 18 are pretty close in size as far as OD. So 5/8 is obviously 625, and 16 millimeter is 629. So there's about 4 thousandths difference between the diameters of these. Not really a big concern. So I have a piece of 5/8 rod right here. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's 10/18. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lop this off at 5 1/4 inches long. And I'm going to use a button die, a 1 1/2 inch die in a tailstock holder. And I'm going to simply use that to thread 16 2.0 on one side for about 1 inch long, and on the other side I'm going to do 1 inch of 5/8 18. Real simple. I don't even have to do any turning. Now, I don't know. Usually I like, when I thread, I like to bring them about 5 thousandths under the diameter that you're going to be threading, just to make it thread easier, take a little stress off the tap, and the flat doesn't really matter. It's not going to make that much of a difference as far as the thread form. But I think what I'm going to do is maybe I'll peel a few thousandths off one side for the 5/8, and the 16 millimeter would be a little bit smaller. It'll be about 5 thousandths smaller anyways, okay, because this is only 625 and 16 millimeter is 629. So that one's going to thread fine. So maybe I'll peel maybe 4 or 5 thousandths off the 5/8 18 side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to the power bandsaw, or the horizontal bandsaw. I'm going to lop off 5 1/4. We'll face the two ends, and then we'll simply put a thread on each end. Okay, so I will go out in the garage where it is freezing cold, and I'll lop this off, and I will be back in a few minutes. All right, guys, so I decided that I'm not going to go out in the garage and cut this off. It is cold out there. It's about 25 degrees. And just to let you know how crazy it is here in Rhode Island or in the New England area, yesterday it was 68. And tonight into tomorrow, we're expecting somewhere between 10 to 12 inches of snow. So I'm just going to use a parting tool and cut it off, and then we'll go from there. Okay? All right, let me bring you in tight. And here we go. I'll go a little slower than that. I like to cut them off slow. Put it in the chuck. And I'm going to use a 3-jaw chuck. I'm not too concerned about a little bit of run out. This is only a bolt for a puller. It's not or an installer. It's not really that big of a deal. Although I did decide that I am going to machine this down about 5 thousandths for the 625 thread. So we're going to face this off, turn it down. ramp up the speed. Alright, so we're going to thread this back about 1 inch, and it really doesn't matter where this ends. We could go a little bit more. I just want enough engagement so that I don't pull the threads on the stud we're making or out of the crankshaft, which would be horrendous. So somewhere around there. So let me get a magic marker. Take our hermaphrodite calipers, and what I usually do is somewhere around there. So I'm a little over 1 inch. Not a big deal. And I'm going to face that end off a little bit anyway, so it'll be a little bit shorter. But we don't care. I'd rather have a little bit extra than too little. All right, let's take about a 5/1000 cut. Alright, I gotta turn my feed on. Which is D. Put a nice chamfer on it. All right. Get some good cotton oil. We're all set there. All right, so let's set up the... All right, so we're going to do the 5/8 18 first, so that's what I got in there. Now, when you put these in and you thread with them, you got to remember that one side of the die is chamfered a lot more than the other side. So the heavy chamfer is going to be your cutting edge, your starting edge. We drop this in here, line it up with the two little locks. We don't want to put too much pressure on it because we don't want to collapse the die, but just snug it. That's good. I'm going to bring our tailstock in. Give it some oil. And we're going to slow this way down. All right, get this out of the way. And I'm just going to stop it with the foot brake and then reverse it. Just how easy it's gonna be. Alright, let's just look at the end, make sure we got a pretty good chamfer. Actually, that was a really nice thread. That die, it's a Hansen die and it cut pretty good. Let's make sure it fits. Which, why shouldn't it? But you never know. Alright, so we got plenty of thread there. Let's flip it over, face it off. We don't have to cut this one down because it's already about 4/1000 undersize. All right, we'll speed it up. Done with that one. Let's put a chamfer on it. Done with that one now. Mark this up. Can't forget to change the die and the die stock. That would suck. We'd have to do that all over again, so I'm going to change the die. I do with my Allen wrench. Right, now, obviously I don't have the crankshaft here, so I can't try it, but I know what it is, so this should be the last step. Yeah, we're going to slow that down. There we go. All right. And that's it. Okay, so that's all we needed. I have a class to teach tonight. I'll take this back to work with me, and we will see how it works. But I don't expect there's going to be any problem. But it's nice to have a lathe in your basement, huh? But it'd take me, I don't know, a little bit longer because of the camera, but maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Obviously, you do have to have quite a bit of tooling to do it too, but don't have to buy anything. Piece of steel was laying around, so it's really I don't even know where I picked it up, but I've had it for a long time. So we'll go back to work, we'll get this done, and I will actually take a few pictures to throw at the end of the video of this installed on the crankshaft, and I will see you on the next project. Please please share the video if you like the content. Again, we're well over 100 subscribers. Every day there's more and more subscribers, so it's pretty cool. And I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much.